Hello and welcome to the Treasured Page. I'm Melanie and this is our quiet crafting space. We're working through the prompt today for the Junk Journal July as hosted by Meg Journals, and it is day 28, so we are on stenciling. This reminds me of the sea with the colour tones and sandy beaches, just that watery look there. Okay, using my bubble stencil, that's what I'm calling it, could be snowballs. I'm going to use the grey weathered wood oxide ink. Using the makeup brush, I just want to gently go over in places to bring in some elements there, just very subtle. That's nice. Going into the corner over here with it. And a bit up here. And again up in that corner there. Just some circle patterns on the edge there as well, going off of the page. I always think that looks really nice. And very faint there. Lovely. Okay, so that just gives me a background stenciled pattern. And then what I want to do is bring in more of a focal point, more of a larger image. So I thought this would be a good one. I've got frayed burlap here. Holding it steady, if you're worried in any way, it is useful to put a bit of washi tape or some tape there. And I do want this nice and dark so that it shows up. I'm going to mute it over the top with a tissue paper or a tea bag paper. Let's see what I've got to hand. So we just put that on there. Lovely, I like that. That is very nice. Okay, I've got this. This is tea bag paper. And I'm hoping that we'll be able to see through it. So what I want to do is have some wet glue. This is clear glue, PVA glue, but perfectly fine to use Elmer's glue or any water-soluble sticky glue. The sort of glue you would give to children. Nothing fancy and nothing expensive. It's going to react because it is an oxide ink, so I'm going to try not to smudge it about too much. I'm just going to do that. That's changed the colour. And then I'm going to put that on there. And I quite want the crinkle, but I also want to be able to see some of that coming through. So. I'm not a fan of this edge here, so I'm just going to rip it so we get the torn edge. Let's just start pulling it away where I haven't stuck it down deliberately, so that I can just pull away any harsh edges. And again, just pulling away some of that line there, so it just looks like a torn a shred of paper. And I don't think that's going anywhere, so that's fine. So we want that to just dry. We're now looking at a mixed media, and where we've done paper craft and things like that, and the batik effect, if you didn't see that one, I do apologise, I hadn't added it into the playlist for the Indian Summer Journal, so that is number 12 if you want to look up that and the pack of papers that were produced by using ink dye. So that's another mixed media style and idea, just very cool, nice little idea to bring in the papers in the journal. So I'm very gluey on this desk today, but I am doing mixed media. I've got some cheesecloth here and I'd like to bring that in as well. So while we're waiting for this to dry, I'm also going to just bring in this and certainly just cut some off there. Just that will probably be enough to pull about and manipulate. So I've got the cheesecloth here. I'm just going to pull that to stretch some of it out. If you've got some floaty fabric or something wispy that you can find, it's just some cotton threads. I want to bring in an element of movement here, and I think I might get away with some glue stick on this one, because if you've got the Yoo-hoo, it does say somewhere, I've read that it will, you know, it can stick down fabric. So we'll just sort of see if it does. For something as simple and as lightweight as this, seems to be okay. A lace, very fine vintage lace, just something just to give texture. That's what this is all about. A little bit of texture. I haven't really got a theme here other than I was inspired by the colour of the paper, and sometimes that's all you need, isn't it? Just a starting point. So I've got the stenciling in the background there. I'm just looking around me now, looking at what I have, not what I haven't. So what I have in front of me, I've got this washi tape. Just going to tear some off so I can see. Quite like the words, so I might like that. Oops. So yes, I like that. I think I like that. I mean, I like that, but then this is a washi tape. And when you take it away from the backing, it might be more translucent than I want. So I'll just have a look. Okay, so just pull that away. I want this to stick out. Oh, I like that. That's quite nice. I might have needed a bit more glue with that. Seems to be sticking. Okay, so we've had that. Now I'm going to go over it again, but this time I'm going to use a paste. Distress paste here. I don't know what this one is. I've just grabbed it. Grit paste, translucent. Okay. I don't know whether I like this, whether it'll work. I've used it once before, I think, and it was quite successful, but not for this sort of application. So again, I'm just holding everything down, and I'm just going to press that into the stencil. Right, you don't need to have fancy stencils to be able to do stenciling, and I'll show you what I mean in a minute. I think you can make this sort of paste using flour and water, things like that. We'll have to look into that a bit further, because, you know, not everybody's got the money, have they, at the moment with all this sort of stuff, but I have it. I bought it a long time ago and it's just sat there, not being used. Right, so I don't know if that's just a hot mess. Yeah. We will see. I'm not sure how that's going, but it's certainly sticky. So that just needs to dry, I feel. I'm going to put the lid back on. Tuck that away. Alright, so that's where we're at the moment. So I've got a wide space here with nothing going on. I've got a bit of interest around the back, but it's not overly exciting. And then I've got sort of that focal point, which looks like a smooshed mess. So it's all going quite well. But we just need to dry it. Now with a grit paste, I think you can stain it or dye it. So we'll have a look at that when this is dry. Okay, I think this is dry enough now for me to have a play around with. it's soaked up some of the ink from the background, and it's almost giving off maybe like a metallic look. That's sort of how I'm feeling about it. And just this sea, this maybe the netting, the wording with the script, and now this scroll, sort of almost brass-like. I just want to maybe emphasize that, like an old rusty thing that's been found at sea. I think that echoes where I was going with my boat theme when we looked at the London to New York, the Queen Mary. So I think this is just sort of another little kickback to that idea. And I've just got a water brush here, but I want to just bring in some oxide ink, and I might be able to just maybe see if I can get, I think what I want to try and achieve is something that sort of runs down. Just try and get it to run down a bit. Because it's an oxide ink, you'll see that it will take an effect as it dries with the sort of chalky deposit that comes to the surface when the ink gets wet. So we'll just sort of do some more drips and see where that idea goes. So, but this is cracked pistachio, so we'll just add a little bit of that for sort of seaweed effect maybe. We just do that. And really let that run. I'm just going to allow that to dry. I want to mirror the text that's down here with some up here. I'm going to use archival ink, which is a waterproof ink, so it won't move if it gets wet. I don't think it will, because I've probably finished now with my inking. But I just want to use this ground espresso, and I'm just going to rub some ink onto the top part of the stencil. This is a Tim Holtz script stamp. And then just want to bend it slightly so that I can get a bit of an impression over here. That's where we stamped out the circles from the washi tape card, and it could be very much used now as a stencil. Right, so I've taken a bit like that, and I'm just starting to secure it and smooth it onto, going over. I'm pushing that into the fabric, and I'm doing it on a bend, which is not easy or advisable, but there we go. And then scraping off and pushing in. I haven't got the stencil flush, so it might have moved. Yeah, it has. It's spread and it doesn't look great. But this is quite interesting. It's quite interesting. So I'm just going to texturize the stencil here, which is otherwise got the washi tape on it, and just see what that looks like dry. So this is Tim Holtz Crackle paste, and just do a small amount of that stencil. Oh, that's pretty, and you can see the highlight underneath, so good, that worked. I'm going to just go over the top of all the raised bits from the stencil, and using this metallic idea here, you can see what I'm up to. Lightly dab it on. So this was a grit paste, and it seems to sort of take the ink and colour it quite nicely. It seems to be porous and it's dried that way. So it is actually taking on the colour and allowing quite a nice effect there, I think. So I'll just do the rest of that. Okay, I have got the gilding paste out in gold, and this is Empire Gold wax gilding paste. I'm just using a Q-tip, a cotton tip, and I want to just go over and emphasize, but I think I might have to get my fingers in there to rub that in a bit better. But the grit is what it says. It is a gritty texture, and actually with this gilding paste it's really picking up. So it's sort of a real old decrepity look, and it could be that it has got damaged at sea with the elements of sea battering against the metal, but it is sort of a very nice effect. Now, had it not got the background, had I not put the colour down, the brown colour, the burlap colour down to begin with, we would have had a white translucent paste, and that could have been very interesting just to have had that as a sea image, a watery sea foam. That might have looked very good, but because we've developed this colour and gone with it with the gold, now if I just rub my finger over there just to really push it into the texture, effectively polishing it. Right, now I've got to make a decision of what I'm doing here. I'm just going to remove the bits that have come crumbling away and see what I can put in here. I've got this tracing paper, which has been coffee stained, so it's gone crinkly. I like that. That just reminds me of something from the beach or the sea, that crinkly, crunchy, maybe seaweed. You often get this sort of translucent but brownish sort of seaweed that dries. Living by the sea, I'm familiar with that, so that is reminiscent of my childhood down on the beach. I never found anything as fancy as that though, washing up on the tide with the gold gilded something that maybe came off of a ship or a smuggling vessel, maybe something that carried whiskey or spices, tea. No, I found some driftwood. And then I want to perhaps have, how about that bit of fabric? That's a little bit of white fabric, and it's got some silver splatters on there. I think when I was splattering some things around the other day, a little bit of fabric got caught in the crossfire of me splattering my snowy silver scene onto New York Empire State Building, I think we have here. Where did that go? Yes, there we are. That's a silver splatter, and this little bit of fabric got caught up in all of that, so we'll now just stick that down and fray some of those edges. And then it comes this, oh, I don't like this, and the top bit wants something doing, so I could echo the dots and have a negative stencil up here, because this is a stencil task, but because I've stenciled over the top of washi tape, it's now cracking away with this Crackle glaze paste. However, that's fabulous. I just wondering if I can reduce the size of that and maybe not have that. So now I'm going to cut that down. And then we'll just stick this down here. And then what I will do is I'm just going to put some this PVA and try and see if we can preserve some of the crackles before they all fall off. I'm just adding some drops of ink over the top of the glue, and I'm hoping that the ink will settle into some of the cracks with the glue. I'm using a speckled egg, and I've got the pistachio. So a wispy bit of fabric up the top there, just to my signature fabric. And that just gives it something up the top there as well. We've got that. I feel like there's something there, but I think that will probably put a sentiment there, I think. And then I'm not sure about this. Walnut stain ink, and I'm going to just lightly paint that on just to take away the starkness of the white, and see if we can just bring the brown cracks out. Sort of want that just to settle into the cracks. Well, this journal has been an absolute permission to play and explore, and to really have a look at the materials that I have, what's around me, to use up some of the supplies and art, craft, products that I have bought over the years, but never really sure what to do with them, never given myself the opportunity to play and explore. So I think, you know, the word that will be best here, I think, is explore. And I'm going to choose the white colour here. This is from Tim Holt's Big Chat pad. Again, I bought that a long time ago. I'm still using it. So I think that's a bit too white. I'm going to see if there's any ink on here and just knock that down. And then that's quite nice because it's come out with that bluey grey colour from the weathered wood. And, you know, today I've just been exploring and seizing the day as I looked at yesterday, and just doing some very simple basic things, changes to my routine that have ultimately led me to do other things in a different way, and just starting very simply with, I ran out of toothpaste yesterday, and so I swapped brands and I bought a different one, and I've just, instead of using my usual, I've used a brand new toothpaste, and I started my day with this new toothpaste, which was absolutely, you know, it's just what I mean, it's toothpaste, so it's really think too much about it, but I was aware that it was different. It was a different minty sensation that just got my morning going. And what else did I do? Oh, I tried a different shade of lipstick when I went out today, because I had to go out. So I thought, oh, I'm going to put a bit of lipstick on, and I'm going to choose a totally different shade. So that was quite nice. And yeah, just little things like that. Right, I think that's done. I think we've explored all of our crafty things. Certainly got the stenciling, so that's a makeshift stencil. This is taking stencil to a whole other level of what you can achieve with stencils, pastes and gilding wax. That's the result of a Crackle glaze over a fabric as well. And then we have the stencil background. Arguably you can't see it, so we might just pop in a bit so we can see what we did actually do here with the oxide ink, which I think along the way of putting water on has all got itself removed, so just put that back in. Oh, that was cool. I like that. And well, if we can have that, then we have to have a bit over here as well, just to echo that. Great. And then if that is made wet with a little shot of spray, then all the bubbles and everything, whoop, then that oxidizes that ink and it tones it down. So we'll leave that to dry. And there we go. I think I'm really pleased with that as a mixed media page, and hopefully it hasn't messed up anything here. I think we're all right, and I'm just going to leave that all to dry and say that that was a lovely time. And yeah, I've really enjoyed doing that, exploring and playing and having a little go with mixed media for a change. And whilst it's a bit more modernistic with the colour tones, and that may not be for everybody, it's just the starting point of that blue background led me to that. Many different ways that could have gone. So tomorrow's prompt is geometric. I shall probably do that over here. Use some stencils as well. I like to tie the pages in, so I might like to do that. And otherwise we're getting really full. So what I will be doing is making another journal for August and putting in my ideas there. I won't be doing an everyday video, but I will definitely be doing a Monday, Wednesday, Friday and a Sunday as well. And if you would like to send me any prompts, because we're obviously coming to the end of Meg's prompts here, we have got geometric, favourite quote and a farewell. So that is going to be the 29th, 30th and 31st. And from the 1st I shall want to make a new journal and over the weekend. And I'm also going to make an ephemera holder as well, which will probably be on Saturday or Sunday. With the video going out on Sunday for an ephemera holder, as requested by Brandy, one of our subscribers here. There we go. It is a chunky, fabulous. The fact that it was extended out has helped, because it now the pages, the cover comes round, and I will probably look at a closure, or maybe just tie it up. But I could put a button in there, you know, I could sew a button in there because there's a thin bit of fabric. I'm going to add in some bits that I've got floating around the desk as well that have come out of this month's makes, various things, but otherwise it is a very hippie backpacker's journal all around the world, lots of different exploring different things, and of course this new idea here. Okay, so I hope you found fun and value here. Please do like and subscribe, and let me know you care with a comment below. And above everything else, guys, just slow down and make crafting time for you. Bye bye now.